Hello and welcome back to the Single Society. This is the podcast that explores singles' life through the much more positive lens that it really deserves. My name is Jo and this is the 6 in a 7-part series exploring well-being when it comes to dating and also when it comes to attending singles nights as well. I host this podcast, but I also run regular singles nights in cities across the UK, and you can find all the details of those upcoming events in the description of this podcast. As someone who hosts those events regularly, well-being is obviously something that is at the forefront of my mind all the time when it comes to planning and making sure that guests are having a really positive experience. Dating can often feel quite tiring, so I really want to make sure that you are getting the most out of these events. Now, in the first 5 episodes, I was looking at thinking about well-being before you even come to a singles night or before you choose to go on a date with somebody. And then during the event itself, what does well-being look like? How can you take good care of yourself? In today's and tomorrow's episode, I'm going to be thinking after you've been on a date or after you've come to a singles night, what does taking care of your well-being look like then? Now, I'm always open to getting more ideas on this, so if you have thoughts, please do feel free to comment. But for now, I want to cover some of the things that I found are really important for people when it comes to de-escalating and processing after they've been to something like a singles night. So the first thing I would say is please do something really nice for yourself afterwards. It is a really brave thing to do, to put yourself out there, to meet lots of new people, to be open to finding a potential partner. So please do take time for some self-care. Now that is going to look different for absolutely everybody, and that is fine. It could be, going home from the event and getting into a nice hot bath and just letting, any nerves you might have felt just kind of melt away from you. It could be, journaling, it could be meditating, putting your favorite film on, or even just listening to your favorite music on the way home from the event. It can be little or large, your favorite foods, just something that feels like a bit of an act of indulgence and to kind of, remind your brain as well. We can be very hard on ourselves. This was a scary thing I did, and I put myself out there, and that was brave, and I deserve a little bit of self-care afterwards. So know that it's an amazing thing to do, and definitely make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You may want to do this immediately after the event, or it can also be something you do in the days afterwards. But I would also really encourage you to check in with that's very important, supportive friends and family members so that you can talk through the event and your experience of it. So you might want to go through the different people that you met, whether that's potential connections or just friends that you made on the night as well. A really positive aspect of singles nights is that almost inevitably you will make friends with lots of amazing single people at a similar age bracket to you and a similar stage of life in your local area. So that is something that I think is very much worth doing, just unpacking things a little bit more, exploring with those that you feel truly safe with. So 2 things so far: make sure you're looking after yourself, a little bit of self-care and indulgence, and checking in with somebody whose opinion you respect. Doesn't have to be immediately afterwards. Most of the events that I host are on a Thursday, so if you've got time to see people over the weekend, that's a really great time to think about it in a little bit more detail. Although I will say that often it's really helpful to let somebody who you know well just check in with them when you've got home safely from the event. I really wish this was something I could implement with all attendees. If it's not myself running the particular singles night you're at, it will be one of my hosts. And something I always have them do is let me know that they've got home safely from the event. And I do think that that's something it's worth setting up for yourself as well. Let a friend or a family member know before you're going to a singles night, and then just check in with them, even if it's just that single message, just to let them know that you've got home safely and that you're okay. It's just an important little thing to make sure you feel really looked after and that your well-being is what should come first in all of this. Although, of course, my hope is that you meet a romantic partner. I don't think anyone who runs singles nights isn't a bit of a hopeless romantic at heart. That's the ultimate dream goal. The most fundamental thing that's important is that you feel safe and that your well-being is protected throughout the whole process, not just in the lead up to the event and during it, but also that you are taking this time for self-care after the event as well. All of those things are really important. And do tap into your support network and lean on them to make sure, as I say, you can process everything, because when you meet a lot of new people in a short amount of time, you're going to have a lot of different conversations. And sometimes when you've got all of that, swirling around in your own mind, it's quite difficult to make sense of. Often you might find that you've got 2 or 3 numbers from somebody and you need to think about, okay, who did I feel most aligned with? Who might I want to get to know better and go on a date with? Talk to people, get out of your own head, explore that in a little bit more depth and detail. So tomorrow is the last in this 7-part series exploring wellbeing at singles nights. If you aren't already following or subscribed, then please do so, because I will be looking at some other details of how you can look after yourself after you have been to a singles night. Take care, see you soon.